Good afternoon to all of you, the respected members of the Innovation Committee. My name is JL Kappas, and I'm very honored to have the opportunity to speak to you today about the selection and training program that we've put together in collaboration with the Sabah Al Ahmed Center for Giftedness and Creativity to identify and train the Kuwaiti team for the International Chemistry Olympiad. As well as being involved in the training for the Kuwaiti team, I'm actually the chair of the International Steering Committee for the International Chemistry Olympiad. So I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about the international competition. The competition has just finished its 57th year, with this year's Olympiad being celebrated in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates. The competition now involves more than 90 different countries from all over the world, with each country sending its four top chemistry students, with almost 400 students taking part in the competition each year now. The competition involves two exams, each of which is 5 hours long. One of these exams is a written exam with about 8 to 10 multiple part questions covering theoretical aspects of chemistry. And the second exam is the practical exam. The students are in the laboratory and they have 5 hours to complete 2 to 3 different tasks, analyzing samples, synthesizing a new molecule. As you can imagine, this is quite demanding in terms of students being prepared for two exams that last such a long time. In school, the most difficult exams will quite often only last 1, maybe 2 hours. So part of this is training them to be ready for such long exams. But the content of the exam is also very challenging. Although this is a competition for school students, they aren't allowed to have graduated from high school more than 1 year before. They have to be under 20 years of age, and they aren't allowed to have taken or been enrolled in any university courses. The level of content is definitely beyond the school curriculum of just about all countries that participate. And so, looking at the type of chemistry, the level of chemistry that's expected, these students in the competition have the expectation to be working at a university level, maybe a second or third year university student. Because of this, it's really important to select students who are talented in chemistry, but also have a willingness and a dedication to working very, very hard. It's going to require the student to do work outside of school, and so enthusiasm and perseverance are very important traits to identify. I first met Mr. Neda and came into contact with SAC-GC in 2024. And in that year, myself and my colleague, Dr. Peter Bolgar, were able to speak with him, and Peter was able to do 1 week of organic training before the ICHO, the Olympiad in 2024 in Riyadh. And then for this past year, in preparation for 2025, in collaboration with SAC-GC, Peter and I have helped to develop an entirely transformed selection and training process. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about that now. The process started in January of this year when students were invited to SAC-GC to take a computerized exam. This was administered to more than 80 students and was used to identify the most promising ones for the next round of selection. Now, as I mentioned, the Olympiad will require the students to work very hard outside of school. So we don't just want to identify those who already know the most chemistry. We also want to identify those who are able to learn chemistry quickly. So in February, Peter and I came to Kuwait City, and with the help of SAC-GC, we put together an intensive training weekend. The students had a full day of lectures provided by Peter and me that went beyond what they'll have learned in school. The next day, we gave them an exam that covered the material we had taught, as well as other general areas of chemistry. So again, we were trying to test both which students were best able to learn and quickly apply this new information, as well as those who already have a strong basis in chemistry. And we used this to select the 20 students who would continue on into the training program. This training program involved not only Peter and me, but also other chemistry Olympiad experts from around the world, people who've trained teams in Hungary, Greece, the United Kingdom, and medalists from all of these countries. So several of the trainers have earned medals themselves from the Chemistry Olympiad. So both Peter and I have earned silver medals, and other of the trainers have earned medals as well. The training took place over 8 different weeks between March and early July. 6 of the weeks were focused entirely on theoretical training, and 2 of the weeks had practical training in the lab that we completed at Kuwait University. So the students had training in both of the aspects for the 2 exams. Originally, we had planned for this to go to the advanced level of the topics of the exams, but over the course of the year, we discovered that the students needed some support to build some of their foundation in chemistry a bit more than we had expected. Having said that, we were really pleased with the outcome. So previous to this year, the highest result that had ever been earned by a Kuwaiti student was 11%. But the students this year, all 4 of them who participated in the ICHO, exceeded this outcome. So in terms of their exam results, they earned 15%, 16%, 20%, and 23%. So the top result was more than double the percentage that had been earned previously by the best Kuwaiti student. Now, the percentages can be a bit variable. Each year, the exam is written by different people at the International Chemistry Olympiad, by those who are hosting. So, for example, this year the exam was written by the Emirati host, the previous year the Saudi host. And so the level of the exam, the percentages can vary from year to year. Another really useful thing to look at is how the students ranked compared to the other students from other countries. And indeed, this is how we decide at the international who receives gold, silver, and bronze medals. So I'd like to share with you now the results shown in that rank way. So the first Kuwaiti team participated at the ICHO in 1986, and then the country has sent a team off and on in the time since then. There was about a 10-year break in the 2010s when Kuwait didn't participate, but has participated every year since 2023. So I'm going to show you the results from those 3 years. So as you can see now in this graph, here we have the rank performance. So of all of the people who participated in the ICHO, this bottom line represents very last place. The student scored lower than all of those others participating. And you can see in 2023, before SAC-GC, Peter and I became involved, the last place Kuwaiti student was indeed the last place student in the ICHO overall. And the students performed across a spectrum, but still all relatively close to each other. In 2024, where Peter was able to provide 1 week of organic training, we can see that this really improved sort of the average training of the team. Although the top student did quite comparably to the top student the year before in terms of ranking, the lowest ranked students were now quite far away from being very last place. And then this past year in the training for 2025, you can see that things have improved even more. In terms of the rank, we've shot up more than double the highest rank over the last 2 years. And the second highest student, a student who actually just completed grade 10, is now an 11th grader, also did much better, with the other 2 students doing comparably to the strongest students in the 2 years before the training program. So I think from these results, we can see that the training program, the training across the year, had a great impact not only on the percentage, more than doubling the percentage, but also on the rank, more than doubling how high the students were able to achieve in comparison to the students from all of the other more than 90 participating countries. Now, although there's this great improvement, we can't deny that there's still a lot of work left for us to do. So to help contextualize these scores, I now wanted to show them in comparison to the scores that obtained gold, silver, and bronze medals. So because that's based on the comparison, we can use the same scale for all 3 years. So here you can still see that these top two students did more than twice as well in terms of the ranking as the top student in 2023. But you can see that there's quite a difference from this blue region that's for honorable mention, with bronze, silver, and gold medals above that. So there's still a lot of room to improve before we can expect an award at the international level, but I think we've made great strides based on what we've done so far. Now, based on what we've observed this past year, we have some ideas for things to do differently in this 2026 cycle. One of the things is for 2025, we started the selection in January of 2025. This year, we're starting earlier in November of 2025 for the selection for 2026. This will allow us to spread the training out more so that it won't be as demanding on the students outside of school. And we've also incorporated some online training as well as the in-person weeks. This online training will be on average once a week, and we hope that these regular meetings with the international trainers will encourage the students to keep studying, to keep working hard between the weeks where they're working with us for more hours at a time. We're also going to be looking at spreading the laboratory practice out, again, to give the students these opportunity to regularly practice the skills rather than doing it in a very concentrated time period. As I said, we're really excited about the results that we've been able to achieve so far, more than doubling the score, the maximum score, and having all four students outperform the maximum score of the previous years. But we hope that these new changes that we're introducing to the program will help even better results to come in the near future, inshallah. I'm really sorry that I'm not able to join you there in person for your meeting, but I really thank you for your attention and thank you for all of the dedication you have to promoting the education and the success of the students in Kuwait. And thank you very much for the opportunity that you've given to Peter and to me to be involved and to work with these exceptional students. If you have any questions, I'm sure that the SACGC members will be able to give you some answers themselves, but I'm also very happy for them to share my email address, and please don't hesitate to get into contact with me. Thank you again for your time, and have a great rest of the day.